all of the things that the robot can control, and they are the LED matrix, the LED string, I'm sorry, the LED matrix, which is the screen, the wheels, of course, and the crane. Okay, now start with the LEDs. So we're just going to do one by one, and then we can aggregate them. So let's turn them all on to green. Great, and they've all gone to green. Okay, now they're all individually addressable, and you can actually use these that well, these ones here won't work for the junior, they're for the pro, but you can just type in a number. So if you want the line only, well, first of all, you see what we're going to have to do is turn the LEDs off, turn them off, and then turn on what you want. So if you only want your line ones green, so now you can see your line ones green. So anyway, they're perfectly working, so there's nothing wrong with that. You could also type in, one starts at the left-hand line sensor, so you could type in, if you just wanted the front ones to go a different colour now, so that would be 3, and you wanted that to go, say, blue. So number 3 comes on blue, etc. So I think you get the idea there. Okay, so the LEDs are a check. The LED matrix we can't check in tethered mode. We have to write some code. We have to download some code. So let's do the wheels. Before we do the wheels, let's pop it on a little test rig so that it doesn't take off. So what we're going to do is we need to do a couple of things. The first thing we need to do is that we need to check that both of the wheels connected, and we need to check that left is left and right is right. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's drag the wheel off command there, and let's drag the wheel speed, and let's drag the wheel offset, and I'll show you what the offset is going to do in a minute, and we're going to need the polarity. Now the explanation for those is that there's different, when you flip the servo across to the other side, counterclockwise becomes clockwise. So we need a method to be able to so that you can issue forward. So forward would really be backwards for the one that you flipped. It's like your left is my right. So that's why we can do that in the software. It's just easier. Okay. So what we're going to do is just check that first. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get both motors to go. Well, we're going to get the left-hand motor to go forward. So let's just click that, and you can see there. I've just put some tape so that you can see it. So the left-hand motor is indeed going forward, so that's not a problem. So we don't need to adjust the polarity for that. It must be what's called normal. So now what we're going to do is turn on the right-hand side motor, and that's going forward too. Now, if one of them was not going forward, and I'll give you an example, what I'll do is I'll make the left-hand side reverse, and I'll send that down, left-hand side reverse. Now let's turn the wheels off, and now let's turn the wheels back on. What you'll see now is that the left-hand side is going backwards, and that's because I've swapped the polarity here. So if when you do this first test, you get one of them going backwards, which when you tell it to go forward, 100 is forwards obviously, negative numbers are backwards, then what you would need to do is reverse whatever you've got here. So I'm going to reverse that, I'm going to swap it to the other way. So what I'm going to turn it off first, and then I'm going to make left-hand side normal. So you'll need 2 of those really. Okay, one for right-hand side. Okay, so I'm going to make both of them normal, and then we'll see what we get. Okay, that's better. So left hand is actually normal, that's correct. Now the right hand one is going backwards. You should get one being opposite to the other. So the right hand side is now going to be reversed. So I'm going to, I should have done that first, sorry. So I've just got my left hand normal and my right hand reversed because it was going backwards, and now they're both fine. Okay? One of them should have a reverse polarity because it has to, because it's flipped. So it's not necessarily because sometimes from the factory we get servos that are backwards to the others, occasionally. Okay, so that's the wheel polarity or the wheel direction. So forward is forward, backwards is backwards. Great, we've done that now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to check is the left hooked up to the left and is the right hooked up to the right. So we're just going to stop the right hand side motor and issue that command. And the right hand side motor has stopped. Okay? So now we know that when this was built, or someone hasn't swapped it around. We know the left-hand motor is connected to the left-hand motor pin, and the right-hand motor is correctly connected with the right-hand motor. Great. So what we need to do now is we need to check the all-stop drift, which is called the offset. So let's issue a all-stop command, and let's start with the right-hand side motor. So what you will see is the right hand side motor is drifting slightly backwards. So we need to make it go slightly, we need the offset to be slightly more forward, and forward is positive. So if we go to the offset, let's make it right hand side. So let's make it 3, and we're going to issue that. Okay, hasn't made any difference. So let's make that 5. Alright, let's try turning the wheel off and issuing the wheel offset and doing it again. Okay, alright. A little bit more. Let's make it 10. Okay. So now I made it 10 and it's going slightly forward, so 10 is obviously too much. So what we're going to do is make that 7. I'll just turn them off in between. So let's make it 7. Now that's looks like it's about perfect. So 7 is my right hand side offset. Now I need to do my left hand motor. So it's going forward, so it's going to need a negative offset. So I'm just going to turn it off. So it's going to need something like, let's say -5, and let's see, I'm just clicking that to send the code, and then, I'm doing speed, sorry. I need the offset. So make that -5, send the code, and then get them going. And looks like I guessed it correctly. So it's not moving at all now with a 0 command. Now don't forget that you can actually turn the wheels off altogether, which is it's advisable to do that as often as you can because it uses a lot less electricity. Because when you give it a 0 command, the servos are still trying to stay, the nature of servos is they will still be, they're a positional device, so they will try and stay at that position, so they will still be using electricity, and that's why they make a humming noise. They only stop making a noise when you turn them off altogether, which is why we've put this command in there, and the equivalent of that in Arduino is the detach command. Okay, great. So now what have we verified? Let's go back here. What we've verified is that both the wheels move, yes. The forward is forward, yes. So they've done the polarity. We've done the offsets, correct, yes. So we've done all of those. So that's yes, correct. So the polarity, Yes, that's done. So we could record what it was. It's recorded there, so that's fine. And the offsets. So the offsets were, you know, if you wanted to, you could get them to record that they've actually done it. So we could go the wheel offsets there. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it in there, and let's say the wheel polarity, I'm going to copy that and put the wheel polarity in there, just so there's a record. Both dry, yes, yes. Okay, so what I've been doing there is I've been copying and pasting those screen snippets. So this is my evidence, you see, that, and it's also a record of what the polarity is for the robot name or whatever it is for this student's name. So now we just need to go and do the crane. Okay, so I'll put that back down there. Oh, the claws. The eBot Pro has claws and crane. The Junior only has claws. Alright, so let's grab some space. I'll leave that there, don't jump to that, and we'll put all the wheel stuff here, like that, and no, well yeah, you can put that there, that's fine. Put that there. Okay, now, left and right claw. So what we're going to do is grab the claw on and off, and we're going to grab the claw open and shut. Okay, now, when you first get the robot, what you need to do is you need to close them both like this. And we would have assembled it anyway, but if you got a kit or something. So let's... Okay, so that's open, 0 is obviously closed. So you don't want them to close too much, because you've got to remember, so that would probably be alright, I'd be happy with that, because you've got to remember that it depends what you're doing. If you want them to close all the way on 0, then that's fine. It's just up to you. So if I wanted them to go further, then what I would need to do is I would just need to unscrew a couple of millimeters of the tensioning bolts here, and then I would need to unscrew the servo spline bolt here, and I would just lift it up gently, and I would move the claw in that 15 degrees or 20 degrees, and then pop it back down on the spline. And then when I go 0, they will be where I want them, if that's where I want them. But I've deliberately set the claws at that position because usually you're picking up big things, and you don't want the claws to be grinding on themselves too much. Okay, so that's at your discretion. So now I'm happy with that, and I know that that's the position that I want. So now I'm going to issue the all 100% open command. Okay, now you just need to check that it's not smashing on anything, which it is. If you can see, might not be able to see, but it's actually just hitting the rubber tyre, because these are really big tyres. So what that means is there's no hardware way out of that, because the servo rotation is set. We can't change that. So what you need to do is, let's maybe go 80 and 80. So they come in a bit, and now they're off the wheels. So what I would do then is I would want to record this, and I would go fully open. So I wouldn't actually use 100 and 100. I would use 80 and 80 as my fully open, because if I do go 100 and then open them and then try and drive, it's going to be scraping on the wheel. So now you just know for this robot, because you can keep this document, keep this file, and you've also got your other document, okay? So that's a fully test of the clause. So what I might do now is just record that. So I'm going to snippet that and grab that and copy that, and then I'm going to pop that in there. Okay. Alright, so we just need a little bit of space there, so let's just change the margins to narrow, and then we're going to get all of it in there. Okay, great. So fantastic. So you don't have a crane on the Junior. Right, and if you do have the Pro, then you need to do a similar thing with the crane. You just need to tell it to go all the way down, and you need to make sure that it's not smashing in the arm of the servo crane is not smashing into the body of the robot, because you'll just strip the gears in the servo, and you just need to pop it off and then move it up a couple of degrees. Okay? Great.